Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present our County Controller, Mr. Michael Connors, who will present the state of the fiscal for this year.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the legislature, the county sheriff, and most especially our taxpayers who are here joining us. Every year, we file a report with the state controller's report. It's called an annual update document or an annual financial report. That report allows us to bring information into what is considered GAAP budget numbers, GAAP accounting numbers. So it's essentially a report on what actually happened. As you know, the budget is somewhat a political document. This report is about what actually does happen and what actually is spent. It's also on a modified accrual basis, so those expenses and revenues for 2016 are in those numbers. We're going to focus on the fiscal performance. The big issue I'll be talking about is sales taxes and potential risks that we see, and the remedy obviously holds from that. On the 2016 results, we've cut this up in different pages. It's essentially the same format, but we hope that you can see it because it's not so many numbers that are out there. The bottom line number that everybody looks for, everybody wants to know what happened with the year. What happened to, as we would say or think of, the surplus. In accounting terms, that's an undesignated fund balance. That went up by $2.2 million, to bring us to a fund balance of $44.5, an undesignated fund balance. Total fund balance is roughly $60 million, but there are reserves and you have things that you have no ability to spend or use. Those undesignated funds are the dollars that would be available to the legislature to appropriate during the budget process. Next please. If you look at revenues, you can see the revenues came in about $17.8 million ahead of last year, of 2015, and expenditures came in by 13.6 less. That difference between what we receive, what we spent is a good difference, and that's a very favorable thing. However, I would caution you, those expenditures from the previous year increased by 2.5%. And when you think about your tax cap, you can see that that is a trend that you don't want to continue with at all times. Next page. Our largest revenue, and it's a significant revenue not only to us but to our partners in the cities, towns, and villages, is sales tax. As you know, we split the sales tax 60-40. We get 60% and give 40% to the cities, towns, and villages. The sales tax, the $259 million, $260 million, was up almost $3 million from the year before. That's tremendous news. However, we're going to be talking about some real risks that we face in the coming years, and even right up until May the 3rd. We're roughly $600,000 behind plan for this year, so it's something I am concerned about. We'll talk to you about it later as we go on. God bless you. You can see the county share is roughly $156 million. Our property tax is $88 million, and the difference with property tax is not an increase in property tax, it's that we didn't have the write-off 16 we had in 15. The next number looks like a tremendous increase or a jump in revenue for tobacco taxes, jumped by roughly $4 million. That is an anomaly. It's a one-time capture of those additional tax revenues for us. The Native American nations and the different tribal compacts had not paid their share of the tobacco settlement agreement revenues to the state for disbursement to the counties, and that settlement is for about 12 years worth of that revenue. So you aren't going to see that happen again. Actually, the tobacco revenues this year came in at less than $4 million from 2 years ago. So that is something to keep track of. The jail actually is down from the year before. Next, please. Casino revenue is a new revenue, $1.7 million. Again, I would be cautious as to how long that's going to continue that well. With all the competition, with all the overbuilding casinos, I think that presents a risk to you long term. OTB is about even, Civic Center down a little bit. The occupancy tax is an area you have to be aware of. Right now, you've got $8.7 million in hotel motel bed tax. You have made an agreement with the state of New York to subsidize the convention center to the tune of an additional $2.4 million. We're in the process of going through some final work on an audit of that facility, but there's no doubt that $2.4 million is going to hurt you. That actually subsidizes their operation so that they'll show a net bottom line, a positive bottom line. So you're taking revenue you have and giving them that. So that's something you should be aware of next page, please. The tax items are all those combining things like sales taxes and property taxes combined. Departmental governmental expenses are up a little bit. That's primarily because of the other items we've talked about. Your state aid and your federal aid are up a little bit last year. But if you think about it, when you think about all the mandated services that we provide for the federal government and state government, if you add the state and federal aid together, it's only about 85% of what the sales tax revenue is. Your sales tax revenue exceeds state and federal aid. When the transfers are flat, pretty much. Next one, please. Personal services are up primarily because of the contracts we've settled. That's up 3.5 million to 121 million. The MMIS, which is Medicaid, is roughly flat. Family assistance is down a wee bit, but again flat. The safety net is up. While it's a small dollar amount, it is a significant percentage. As you know, that's the federal government's shifting of the Medicaid, or not shifting welfare costs on the county. So when somebody goes through their eligibility period of 5 years, then you wind up splitting it 50-50 with the state. Next, please. You can see the jail. You've got the increase there, a modest increase given what the expenditure has been. Retirement is up about 1.5 million. Some good news on retirement. We did pay our retirement obligation. As you know, in the past, we've been borrowing to do that, taking advantage of the state controls program. We did pay that in full, so that's not an outstanding debt of ours this year. Health insurance is down slightly. That's a combination of a number of smaller factors, but I think that's something you're going to have to worry about as time goes on. Transfer is a timing issue. The nursing home is still, doing very well considering what we were supporting years back. Next page, please. These are the overall. There are 8 object areas. If you look at that one-page synopsis of your budget, you'll see that. You'll see general government, education, public safety. On the education, as you know, the biggest part of that expense, most people, all that's, our 0 to 5-year-old children that we're having in the foster care. Well, actually, the biggest part of that expenditure there is our expenditure for Hudson Valley and for other junior colleges. That's an area that we are being unfairly charged, but there's nothing we can do about it at this point in time until state legislation changes. Economic assistance and opportunity, typically the welfare costs, you see, are up about 8.2 million. That's a considerable dollar jump from 15. It's still below what it was a couple of years ago, but it is an area I think we need to keep an eye on and be aware of. Next page, please. Culture, these are again all pretty flat, and employee benefits are down. That was primarily due to the insurance. We had not done what I hate to say that. We did have a decent year on that. Transfers from the intergovernmental transfers within budgets, from the A fund to the nursing home fund to the B fund for debt service. Next one, please. This is the issue that I think we really have to look at. Please, next. The largest single revenue you have is literally under siege for the way it's changed. We have been a retail destination for as long as I can remember, for the last almost 30 years. You had a massive amount of malls being built, so between Holiday Center and the expansion there, Crossgates and the expansion there, the expansion that we had at Stuyvesant Plaza, the new mall being built at Clayton Farms, all of these different ways of getting people to buy retail goods in Albany County has been a tremendous benefit for us. When you go back, the last time we really had some discussion on this when there was talk about doing away with the additional 1%, we showed that it was about 35%, for instance, you could pretty much demographically prove that over 35% of those sales tax dollars came from other counties. Those dollars came to Albany County to buy in those retail destinations, that bricks and mortar malls. And I think that you all know what a real risk is it. And if you go to the next page, please. And Robert Downer wrote a tremendous article which we participated with. We got them some information used for that. But it brought focus at the state and national level as to what kind of trouble malls are in. And I think what really prompted that was a request by Macy's to reduce their assessment because sales have gone down. If you go to the next one, please. The chilling impact that we've had from 2008 and going forward, there is a double risk coming with this change. How far are we from the chart up there? How am I doing on time?
Plenty of time.
Good. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. So in the 16 years that this has been going on, if you look at, and this is only national chains, the national department stores, if you look at 2000, the sales total coming out of those national chains is about $231 billion. So people went out, went to Macy's or went to wherever, went Penny's or Kmart or wherever they went, and they bought things in that building. That year, they bought $10 billion worth of merchandise on the internet. 16 years later, that amount purchased in bricks and mortar stores for the national chains went down to $158 billion, while the online purchases went up to $98 billion. Now, the good news is the sales are increased, but not significantly over a 16 period of time. But you can see that gap is coming. If I just yell at you, you can see this trend goes that way. When those two things cross and they're headed there, that represents, to me, a crisis for anybody who's depending upon retail sales for their revenues. The bad news about that is, okay, the county's been very good at managing their finances. You guys and gals have met these challenges, done a great job. Some of the towns and villages and cities aren't in as good a shape or as able to weather those storms. I don't mean to pick on a town like Dillon, but Dillon's a perfect example. Their impact, if they lose the surcharge cases at Crossgates Mall, could have a significant impact on them. Their sales tax revenue is in multiples, 8, 9, 10 times what their actual property tax is. So if sales taxes go down for us, that's an impact to us, but the impact on some of these towns and cities could be dramatic. And I think it presents real impending doom. Now I say impending, to me, the next 10 years, if I'm here and alive and long, but the next 10 years seems like a long time, but boy, it goes a lot faster. And it's coming on us much quicker than you can think. And that shift of those sales is not only the loss, but those 35%, those dollars that were dead in other counties, where someone traveled to Albany County to spend, when they do that on the internet, if the internet ever starts to collect sales tax, those dollars will stay in those home counties. So Washington, Warren, Schoharie, Greene, Rensselaer, Columbia, Saratoga, those dollars that are coming here won't be going here. They'll be going direct back to those locales where they're rightfully earned. So that presents a real risk if you go and given those trends, we need to talk about the impact of how we're all going to downsize and come together and work together. If you remember a year ago, because of work on your behalf, we were able to put together a study. It was a requirement for us to give a government efficiency plan report to the governor's office, Division of Budget, which we were able to do. And there's a lot of resistance. Again, when people saw the amount of work, everybody jumped on. All 19 localities that are able to charge property taxes were part of our study. 12 fire districts and six large library districts were all part of that study. So we had one of the most comprehensive studies in the state. Your requirement to meet that 2%, we were 10 times over what had been done, what the savings that had been done, us working together, it's work that you've all been part of. If you could go back, I'm sorry. This plan that we talked about earned us $2.5 million in tax rebates last year. Thanks, please. Later this summer, we're going to be releasing another report in either in August or in September, and I think you're going to be surprised about it, but it's going to show, in my belief, what is an unsustainable trend that we've got. If you just add 2 of your fringe benefits, if you just take retirement and health insurance, you're over 50% of the salary dollar for those fringes alone. And it's climbing. You're headed to 70%. The key, as you all know, to address this is going to be us working with people and resources together. We've got to do that, and that has to happen on next one. This past session, the governors signed Bill Senate 2009C. They created shared services panels. These panels are to be run through the counties. The chair of the panels is the county executive, and the members should be every supervisor and the chief elected official, supervisors and mayors within that county. The county executive has had meetings on a couple of occasions already with those people. I am encouraging the county executive to add the legislative body to those discussions. I think that we all have to work together on this, because for a report to go out and be accepted in September, there are going to be policy issues we have to deal with, and we should all be part of that. Now, I will also say that the clerk should be invited, as our office should be invited, and primarily one of the people that's gotten the most done in shared services for all of us has been the sheriff's office. When you look at the number of opportunities that the sheriff's done in shared services, we should have the sheriff part of this, particularly when we start talking about EMS, or we talk about dispatch, or some of the other things. We need people with the expertise there to talk about that. So we do encourage the county executive to add that. The goal of the panel is to submit a plan that contains new or recurring property tax savings. Now, the promise of the savings that's going to be given back, I will tell you, 3 years ago the promise was going to be in the following year, $150 million would be given out. Well, there was exactly $0 given out. Then the next year, the 150 was held over. It was going to be 50 million. I don't think they gave out 20 million of that. So, whether they're going to give it out or not is debatable, but it's something we have to look at. We need to have, I think, on that plan, when they talk about certification, there's no specificity there. So I think we all need to work together to make sure that it does that. But what the panel is supposed to come up with is a plan for elimination of duplication services, sharing those services such as joint purchasing, funding highway equipment, using highway equipment, shared storage facilities, shared plowing services. And the executive's done a good job on that, working with the hill towns now. Energy and insurance purchasing cooperatives. There are problems, as you know, we've had difficulty with state legislation to have us work together on health insurance. We should have one health insurance plan countywide. Doesn't make sense to have all these different plans when you can use the law of large numbers and have a better result, better coverage, at a lower cost. But the thing is, you may represent the 39th district or the 4th district, but the reality is you all represent the same person. It's just different layers. The county picks one pocket, the school district picks 2 pockets, the state and federal government pick a pocket. So we really have to work together. It's the same taxpayer paying every one of those taxes. The better coordination of services, the use of back office administrative staffing, we've helped with that with Rensselaerville and Bern, and we're looking forward to doing that with some other towns. So those are ways that we can work together. I think that has to happen. The execs meetings have been held, as we've said. They're going to conduct at least 3 public hearings. Then they have to submit the plan that state, I think it's the 17th of September, something like that. The bill references the plan will have to be accompanied by certification, but it doesn't contain any great amount of specificity. There was issues there. Some of the things for you to consider are amendments as we start working together. I think we need to talk to people in the retail world. The Retail Council is a great source of information. Some of the other associations that are out there. It would make great sense for us to reach out and to talk about that, because we all want to see those sales tax revenues generated from online sales. The retail box stores or bricks and mortar stores, they're paying for these services delivered, and you got people dropping in out of the internet, and some of them are not charging sales taxes, and that's supporting the locales and those dollars. So they're taking really subsidized dollars to go in and steal business and bring business. Now, disruptive economy, things are happening, and it's going to continue to happen. But we want to make sure that there's a fair split of those sales tax revenues, and I think that we have some common goals there, and we should work together with them. A unified effort for all of us is going to be critical. I think that if we don't realize that we're in the same boat with our local governments, we're all going to sink if we don't do that together. You've proven your ability and willingness to do that. You financed the study for us to do that, to be able for us to get that $2.5 million in rebates for you. And I'm sure you'll support the county executive's efforts with this panel. But I think we all need to sit down and talk about that together. In closing, I think that this sales delivery model is going to change. And I think in the next 6 years, 7 years, you're going to see a crossing where there'll be more sales done online than are done actually in stores. So we're going to have some real issues to deal with, and it will not only be us, it'll be our partners who rely on their 40% of that sales tax dollar, and the local governments and us will be heard on property tax losses should some of those malls close. Now, God willing, that doesn't happen to us, but you have to look at the reality of what's going on. Between 2000 and 2015, something like 1,700 malls across the country closed. Now, we've been very fortunate here. We've been very proactive. We've had some really good development in a very strong economy. We've had some real advantages considering what's going on in the rest of the state. But if we have to work together in the long term, we've got to realize that if this changes, it could be devastating. So we've got to be ready to do some things that are really creative, but it has to be done in teams. I'd like to thank some of the people that did the work on this. Obviously, John Brennan, who hates it when I mention his name, is a tremendous asset to the county. Tony Fontenelli, another real charm and star on this thing. Ashley Brennan, who did a great job pulling all of this together, and she's our technical writer. And any of the good things that you see in these reports on her work, when you see errors or things that are confusing in there, that's something I did. We also have a great office of people who have been wonderful, and this will be going on our page tomorrow, I believe. So we'll go on tomorrow, and if you need, we'll send a link to it to everybody to your email address that's listed if you can share it with us. Mr. Chairman, that concludes our remarks. I hope I'm under budget.
You were under budget. You did a very thorough job as always. Thank you. Mr. Grimm?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question? Is that appropriate? Mr. Connors?
Sure.
You made it very clear that there's been this shift from retail sales to the internet. It's been pretty pronounced. But our sales taxes continue to go up. How do you explain that given this shift?
Well, we've been the anomaly. If you look at box stores, particularly in other areas, because our economy has been stronger in the region, we've been the outlier. But if you look at Utica Rome area, Onondaga County, Monroe County, even Erie County, those have dropped. When all of the treasurers, about 52 treasurers in New York State, we've been a constant complaint about the decline in sales tax revenues this year. And our own, as I said, are down 600,000 as of May 3rd. Now, obviously, the biggest quarter for us is always the holiday Christmas shopping season. But, I think you have to plan for the future market. I'm concerned that down the road this could be a real problem.
Mr. Kraus?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mike, a great presentation. The numbers you were using on your chart showing the decrease and the increase, those were national numbers?
Those are national box stores.
Right.
That's the retail stores. That was started at I think it was 231 billion, or 238, and down to 155. The others were online from 10 billion up to 98 billion.
Has any effort been done, I know it probably would not be easy, to actually look just at Albany County to produce the same sort of chart?
If anybody knows how we can get that data,
I think it would be difficult, because I think that would explain.
We can show you our data. Our data doesn't delineate. We have difficulty getting information in a useful format in tax and finance. They are very constrained by their relationship with the vendors they're collecting from. They don't like to share any information. I couldn't tell you what the sales tax revenue was in Colony versus Gilderman. They will not do that.
In your professional opinion, if there is not an effort to tax internet sales, you see disaster on the horizon?
I do. When I say that, the 35% that was a measured amount, now it's not 35% anymore because exit 15 has grown up, exit Route 4 has grown up, so but I would be willing to say that 25 to 30% of our sales tax revenue does not originate from residents within Albany County. So when you take that out, just to take a quick number, you're talking about $35 to $40 million. Should that ever happen, please God, but should that happen, that is a real fear. And I think it's something that you look at. It's not something that's going to happen tomorrow, but I think it's something that you have to look at and plan for. And people who are probably more at risk on this than we are the cities, towns, and villages. So there's got to be some real cooperation. When we put that additional 1% on back in 1992, I was the father of that bill, and I put a bill in to make the tax permanent, which a lot of people don't realize that. But that was changed by the assembly because they wanted to have something that was barter every 18 months. The reality is, we did that and never got anything in exchange. We never really talked about, hey, we should do this. This problem of dealing with turf or egos or those other things, you can get around that by sharing people. I think you'll never close. You won't ever see a village vote to close in this town. And the only votes that have been around here have been the open ones.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Burke.
Thank you for a great report. And the governor did try to do a tax this year for New York State sales tax, their portion of it. Because most people that buy, with basically the federal law is set up so that entity has to have a nexus sort of in New York State. But if an Albany County resident says I'm going to do my shopping from home, usually the nexus for that entity is not within state or within county. Is there a mechanism, or do you see us exploring a mechanism to try and ensure that we're collecting that sales tax from our own residents, or are we trying to ensure that those sales that are happening here from other areas we're collecting?
I'm going to go way off on this, I apologize.
Oh, it's okay.
We need to educate our taxpayers about this because if you talk about taxing on the internet, people go ballistic. It's almost a third rail of commerce. So when you explain to people what's going to happen, what you're saying is that, I'll tell you the story, it's a true story. When we did this check on the auto sales, we found that Schenectady County gets something like 738 of our cars that were the 4%. We actually found somebody who worked in the office that had to pay the difference. Now, this person I'm sure knew at the time, he's retired now, but he knew we did live in 7% county, but the dealership said, oh, yeah, maybe this will save an extra percent. So you've got to do a better job, all of us, educating our public about the importance of sales tax, because you know and I know, all of you, that it's not going to be something you're going to be easily able to change from the sales tax revenue should you lose that to property tax that you just don't have.
Yeah.
And if you start cutting services, you're going to have those things. We need to go on a diet. And I think that's the kind of thing that requires planning. And I think nutrition is the way to do it. I don't think that's successful. I think that's something that we can get a look at. And it can't be something that New York State passes because New York State can't enforce it. It's got to be passed on the national level. And we've got to push our members of Congress to look at that. Mr. Berger.
Mike, great presentation. There's something that you said that I wonder if you could elaborate on a little bit. You talked about our real property taxes going up from 81 million, 88 million. It was a $7 million increase, but it was sort of a one-timer because of writing down or something. But can you explain that? Because
Yes.
And if something gets written down, who does that? Is it happening at the town level, assessor level, or?
Well, it started with our outside auditors, for one. We carried debt, bad tax debt, but it's going to be collectible, and it wasn't. Let's say it's 7 years old, past, the property hasn't been sold, we haven't disposed of it. So it was something that was a write-down that we had to do. It started with a push with the accounting firms, and then the state controller's office pushed back. So that 1 year anomaly, that was something that I mentioned it briefly last year, that was something that hurt the results for 15.
Okay,
You
but
look at all the good things.
but
all the
does
good
that
results.
does that happen on an annual basis? Do you do
No.
write-downs or?
No,
you-
actually I think there's probably $1 million left that's got to be written down, or $1,050,000, but it's, that stuff that's really old, 20 years old.
But does that happen in our budgetary process? Do we do that, or is
No,
it
it's a
administrative?
receivable, it's an accounting issue, just a receivable, it's a balance sheet transaction. But when you pass the budget, you're basing the budget on what you're gonna collect. And when you look at your tax dollars that are coming in, if you would have seen 3 years ago, the 9% increase tax, or 4 years ago, whatever that was, you would have seen a much larger jump. You know, you've got the benefit of that coming in, you haven't written those bad taxes off.
Okay, thank you.
That answer your question?
Thank you, Mr. Connors, thank you very much. I'm sorry, Mr. Ryan.
Yeah, hi, Mike. Thank you for the presentation. There's obviously so much more depth than you can go into in the amount of time you have. But I guess I have two questions. First, the sort of easy one is, I noticed you didn't have any kind of a line explaining how much of our budget is energy or energy-related expenditures. And as you know, because you and I have talked energy for years now, that's, to me, an important issue. That is one of those things that is going to go up in the future, and I think we need to plan ahead for it. My other thought is, regarding the sales tax, I have to confess, I'm one of those people who, if you interview me on the street and you say, do you want to see an internet tax? I'm going to say no. Now, you presented some compelling information tonight about why that can be a problem for us if sales tax continues to decline and the internet sales go up. But I guess I'm hoping that the panel that gets assembled to look at this issue looks broadly. In other words, asks questions like this. If we were to tax internet sales somehow, how does that affect the demographics of our county? In other words, are poor people going to get hit by that more than rich people, or is it going to be the reverse? You know, where does that revenue come from if we go that route? And also, are there other options that we might have to generate revenue to replace the loss of the sales tax? Not necessarily more property taxes, but, you know, are there other options that we can look at? So I guess what I'm asking is sort of a broader view, not just saying sales tax is going down, so we have to replace it with an internet tax, but look more broadly at what our options might be.
Maybe I just feel like, I apologize if I wasn't clear, right? There's a potential for you to lose a significant number of dollars in sales tax as this disruption of the mall model goes. Now, let's face it, it's an aging issue. If you and I die out, we're replaced by someone younger who's shopping on their phone. So that is a very real possibility. We need to educate people about that risk and also why it's important to look at the national level on looking at taxing on the internet sales, because what happens when you lose that kind of revenue, it's going to affect at the town of Bethlehem probably more rapidly than it will affect the county of Albany. So we need to do, I believe, a massive effort educating the public to look at this, and then you've got to try and get Congress to do something, which is, you know, who knows how long that takes. But that takes care of that. Now, as to the other thing about generating revenue, there's a lot of things that, what in finance, Gary and his committee have done a lot of work on that. The department heads have done a lot. There's quite a significant amount of revenue brought in by departments, the county executives, teams' efforts, and policy decisions made. There are opportunities with solar farms and some other things, but it's not a significant number of dollars at this point in time, but it is an opportunity. We need to look at what we're spending, Bill. It's not just a revenue issue. We've got to look at what we're spending and how we spend it. We've got to look at how to spend it in a better way in a team effort. This is my opinion.
Mr. Baldwin.
I find the revenue portion of the internet sales a problem. And, you know, the state's solid. The state has an estimate on your income tax of how much you have to pay for internet sales. Now, why can't the county at least co-opt into that revenue that the state has charged people for internet sales? Or why can't the county devise its own charge for internet sales? I think it's a revenue problem, Mike. I don't think it's an expense problem. It's a revenue problem that's being
It's
debated.
both, and it's a creativity problem, but I think the point that you bring up about creating a county line, I don't believe that you have the authority to do that, or to levy an income tax. Cities do, and they get it through state legislation. My experience in 22 years as controller is that every time something happens at the state level, they don't give us anything, they take it from us. The place this has to be addressed of is at the national level in Congress. And I think people have got to really make their push in Congress that we tax on the internet for sales tax. There are a lot of places that are going to get hurt by this. And I'm sure the people talking about this oil of the country we just haven't heard about it. But I would, in our link, you'll see a link to Downman's story a couple of weeks ago, and there's some great stuff in there. It came from the St. Louis Fed, so it's a great source of data. I would highly recommend that.
Thank you, Mr. Connors, again, great job.